My friends, there are moments in life when we can no longer sit in the background, no longer fold our arms and say, that's someone else's problem. There comes a time when truth must be more than just an idea, when responsibility must be more than a word, when faith must be more than a tradition. There comes a time when you must take it personal. Too often, we hear about injustice, suffering, or brokenness, and we distance ourselves. We say, that doesn't concern me, or that's not my burden. But the reality is this: you were not placed on this earth to live in detachment. You were created with a purpose that demands engagement. If the world is dark, then your light must shine. If the world is broken, then your hands must be willing to rebuild. If the world is hurting, then your heart must be willing to care. Taking it personal means you stop pointing the finger outward and begin looking inward. It means you stop saying, why doesn't someone do something? And you start asking, what can I do? When you take it personal, you stop waiting for rescue and begin stepping into responsibility. It is easy to speak of love, but true love requires action. It is easy to speak of hope, but real hope requires endurance. It is easy to speak of faith, but living faith requires sacrifice. And all of that happens only when you take it personal. When storms come, don't say, I'll wait until they pass. Take it personal and learn how to stand in the rain. When temptation whispers, don't say, I'm only human. Take it personal and rise above the excuses. When fear tells you that you are small, don't bow down. Take it personal and remember that you were made for more than survival. You were made for victory. My friends, history has never been shaped by the indifferent. It was never changed by the passive. The world has only been moved by those who made the choice to say, this is my fight. This is my calling. This is my moment. So tonight, I challenge you, don't leave this message at a distance. Don't say, that was good, and walk away unchanged. Take it personal. Let it cut through the layers of pride, doubt, and fear. Let it stir you to act, to live with conviction, to stand tall in a world that often bows low. Because the truth is this: nothing changes until you decide it matters to you. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Take it personal, and you will find strength you didn't know you had, courage you didn't know you carried, and a purpose greater than anything you've ever imagined. Responsibility starts within. Too many times we look outward, pointing our fingers at others, blaming the world, blaming our circumstances, blaming what was done to us. But the truth, my friends, is that no change will ever happen in your life until you are willing to look in the mirror and say, the responsibility begins with me. It is easy to live life expecting someone else to fix it, someone else to carry the weight, someone else to take the first step. But the power of transformation is not found in waiting. It is found in taking ownership. Think of it this way: when a seed is planted in the ground, no one can force it to grow except the life that is already inside of it. You can water it, you can surround it with sunlight, but until that seed decides to break open and push against the soil, it will never rise above the ground. That's how your life works. People can encourage you, they can inspire you, they can pray for you, but unless you decide to rise, unless you take responsibility for your own growth, you will remain buried. Responsibility is not always easy. It means admitting that your choices matter, that your decisions carry weight, that the direction of your life cannot be handed off to anyone else. We often excuse ourselves by saying, I had no choice, or life is unfair. But responsibility says, even if it is unfair, I will not let it define me. Even if it is hard, I will not shrink back. Even if it costs me everything, I will take ownership of my destiny. There is a tendency in human nature to push responsibility away. Adam blamed Eve. Eve blamed the serpent. And still today, we blame society, we blame culture, we blame the systems around us. But nothing changes until someone has the courage to say, "It stops with me. I refuse to pass the blame. I refuse to point fingers. I will rise and do what I must do." Responsibility is personal. You cannot live on borrowed conviction. You cannot stand strong on borrowed courage. You cannot move forward on borrowed strength. At some point, you must decide that this life is yours to live, this calling is yours to answer, this burden is yours to carry. Too often, people wait for rescue, for someone to hand them the key to unlock their potential. But the key has always been in your hand. Responsibility is that key. When you turn it, you unlock the doors to freedom, to growth, to the fulfillment of purpose. When you take responsibility, you stop excusing failure and start learning from it. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start working with what you have. You stop saying, "Someday I will change," and instead declare, "This is my day, this is my moment, this is my time." Responsibility starts within, and once it takes root inside you, no one can take it from you. Think about the people who have changed the world. They weren't the strongest. They weren't always the most talented. They weren't the most privileged. But they were people who decided to take responsibility. They saw brokenness, and instead of saying, "That's not my concern," they made it personal. They saw obstacles, and instead of saying, "That's too big for me," they faced them with courage. They understood that indifference never builds, but responsibility creates legacies. But let me tell you, responsibility will cost you. It will cost you your excuses. It will cost you your comfort zone. It will cost you the luxury of blaming others. Yet in exchange, it will give you strength. It will give you dignity. It will give you power. The man or woman who shoulders responsibility is never weak, never empty, never forgotten. They may stumble, but they get up. They may struggle, but they endure. They may be pressed, but they are not crushed. Why? Because responsibility gives them the inner fire to keep moving forward. You cannot control everything that happens to you. Life will throw storms your way. It will bring rejection, loss, disappointment, and pain. But responsibility does not mean controlling the storm. It means controlling your response. It means choosing to rise when everything tells you to fall. It means choosing to forgive when bitterness wants to take root. It means choosing to believe when fear tries to suffocate your hope. The reason so many never reach their potential is not because they lack opportunity, but because they refuse responsibility. They wait for someone else to do it, someone else to carry it, someone else to lead the way. But your breakthrough, your victory, your destiny, they are waiting on you. You can't delegate them. You can't outsource them. You must embrace them yourself. Responsibility starts within, and if you don't take it, no one can take it for you. So I say to you today, take it personal. Stop pushing it off. Stop running from it. Stop saying, "One day I will step into my calling." Step into it now. Take responsibility for your thoughts, for your words, for your actions. Take responsibility for your faith, for your growth, for your choices. Don't let the world decide who you will be. Don't let fear write your story. Don't let excuses rob you of your future. This is the moment where everything can change. Not when circumstances shift. Not when opportunities arrive. Not when life becomes easy. Everything can change when you decide to take responsibility, when you accept that it starts within. That decision can turn weakness into strength, fear into courage, defeat into victory. It doesn't mean the road will be easy, but it does mean the road will be worth it. Responsibility starts within. If you want a better tomorrow, begin with your choices today. If you want to leave a legacy, begin with your commitment now. If you want to live with purpose, stop waiting for permission and start living it. The world doesn't need more people who avoid responsibility. The world needs men and women who will rise, who will own their calling, who will carry the weight with courage and conviction. And when you take that responsibility, when you finally say, "It begins with me," you will discover that what once felt impossible becomes possible. What once felt too heavy becomes bearable. What once seemed unreachable becomes reality. That's the power of responsibility. It starts within, but once it starts, it will shape everything around you. My friends, there is a truth we cannot escape, a truth we cannot ignore. Faith, love, and hope require action. They are not just words to decorate our conversations. They are not slogans to be recited without meaning. They are not ornaments we wear for appearances. They are living forces, and unless they are lived out, they remain empty and powerless. We live in a time when it is easy to talk about faith. People can memorize verses, attend gatherings, and speak about spiritual matters with confidence. But faith is not proven in how much you know. It is proven in how you live. Faith is not simply believing that light exists. It is walking forward even when the path is covered in darkness. It is saying, "I may not see the way, but I trust that there is a way." Real faith demands movement. It demands risk. It demands a step into the unknown with full trust that you will not be abandoned. Love is the same. Love is not just emotion, not just words whispered in quiet moments, not just compassion expressed when it costs us nothing. True love has weight. It carries burden. It steps into the mess of life and chooses to remain. Real love is not measured by how easy it feels, but by how much it endures. To love means to sacrifice, to give when it hurts, to forgive when you would rather hold on to anger, to serve when no one notices, and to care even when you are tired of caring. If you say you love, but your hands never move, your time is never given, and your comfort is never interrupted, then you have only spoken of love. You have never lived it. And hope. Oh, how the world is starving for hope. Hope is more than a dream of tomorrow. It is the strength to rise today. It is the courage to endure the night because you believe morning is coming. Hope is not passive. It is not sitting and waiting for life to change. Hope rolls up its sleeves, lifts the weary head, and says, "I will not give up because something better is ahead." Hope keeps a man standing when everything inside him wants to collapse. Hope whispers to a broken heart, "This is not the end." But for hope to be real, it cannot be silent. It must act. It must be lived. You see, words without action are like clouds without rain. They promise but never deliver. The world has enough speeches, enough sayings, enough empty expressions. What the world is desperate for is proof. Proof that faith can move mountains. Proof that love can heal wounds. Proof that hope can lift nations. And that proof will never come through silence, through passivity, through apathy. It will come only when men and women decide that their faith will be walked out, that their love will be given away, that their hope will be lived in full view of the world. Think for a moment of those who changed history. They were not the ones who merely talked about faith, love, and hope. They lived it. They bled for it. They gave their all for it. They did not wait for convenience or comfort. They stepped forward, even when it cost them everything. That is why their lives still speak today, because they turned words into action. So I ask you, what good is your faith if it never leads you to trust beyond your comfort? What good is your love if it never pushes you to give beyond what is easy? What good is your hope if it never teaches you to endure beyond the storms of life? My friends, the world does not need more talk. It needs transformation. It needs living examples. It needs men and women who will say, I will not just believe, I will act. I will not just feel, I will love. I will not just dream, I will hope with perseverance. Too many live with the illusion that faith is private, that love is silent, that hope is passive. But true faith is visible. True love is tangible. True hope is contagious. When you live it, the world around you feels it. They may not always understand it, but they cannot deny it. Faith, love, and hope were never meant to be hidden treasures. They were meant to shine, to flow, to overflow into the lives of others. Your faith is not just for your own comfort. It is to inspire courage in someone who has lost their way. Your love is not just for those who are easy to love. It is to embrace those who feel forgotten, those who have been cast aside. Your hope is not just for your own survival. It is to lift the weary, to show them that there is light beyond the tunnel. But none of this happens by accident. It requires choice. It requires resolve. It requires that you take it personal. You cannot leave faith, love, and hope as concepts sitting in your mind. You must decide to live them daily in the way you speak, in the way you act, in the way you endure. And when you do, you will discover something powerful. Faith that is lived becomes strength that cannot be shaken. Love that is lived becomes healing that cannot be denied. Hope that is lived becomes light that cannot be extinguished. And through that, you will not only change your own life, you will change the lives of those around you. So I leave you with this call. Do not settle for empty words. Do not settle for shallow feelings. Let your faith walk. Let your love give. Let your hope endure. For when faith, love, and hope are lived through action, they become the very forces that change the world. Indifference changes nothing. My friends, the greatest enemy of progress is not always hatred. It is not always violence. It is not even outright rejection. The greatest enemy is indifference. It is the spirit that says, it is not my problem. It is not my concern. Let someone else handle it. But if you and I continue to live with that spirit, nothing will ever change. Darkness will remain. Injustice will continue. Brokenness will grow deeper. And generations will be lost because we refuse to take it personal. Life is not meant to be lived in the shadows of detachment. You were created to make an impact. Yet so many today have become numb. They scroll through tragedy. They hear of pain. They watch the world unravel. And they simply move on as if it has nothing to do with them. But listen closely, the condition of the world does concern you. The pain of your neighbor does concern you. The state of your own soul does concern you. You cannot afford to shrug your shoulders and walk away. You must take it personal because indifference changes nothing. Think for a moment about the turning points of history. Was it the indifferent who changed the course of nations? Was it the passive who reshaped the destiny of people? No. It was the ones who said, this matters to me. I cannot sit still. I cannot remain silent. I cannot watch and do nothing. They stood when others sat. They spoke when others remained quiet. They fought when others turned their backs. The world has never been moved by the indifferent. The world has only been moved by those who take things personal. You see, indifference keeps you comfortable, but it robs you of growth. It whispers, stay where you are, don't get involved, don't risk, don't care too much. But comfort never builds character, and apathy never produces greatness. Every breakthrough requires a heart that is stirred, a mind that is engaged, and a will that refuses to be silent. If you want change in your life, you must feel it so deeply that it moves you to act. If you want change in the world, you must allow yourself to be burdened enough to do something. Because indifference changes nothing. Too many of us excuse ourselves with the phrase, "I am only one person. What difference can I make?" But one person who takes it personal is worth more than 1,000 who sit back and do nothing. One voice that dares to speak is louder than a crowd that stays silent. One heart that loves with conviction can ripple through entire generations. Never underestimate what can happen when you stop being indifferent and decide to engage with all your strength. Think about your own struggles. Some of you are waiting for your life to turn around. You are waiting for doors to open, for opportunities to come, for relationships to heal, for dreams to come alive. But waiting alone will not change your situation. You cannot treat your future with indifference. You must take it personal. You must decide that your growth matters enough to fight for it. You must believe that your calling is worth enough to sacrifice for it. You must be so committed that excuses no longer have room to live in your life. Indifference is not only dangerous to the world, it is dangerous to the soul. When you become indifferent, your conscience grows quiet. Your passion grows weak. Your heart grows cold. And before long, you are simply existing instead of living. My friends, you were not created to drift through life. You were made to burn with purpose. You were made to rise with courage. You were made to stand firm in conviction. That is why you must take it personal, because indifference changes nothing, but passion changes everything. Let me speak to those who are tired. I know what it feels like to be weary. I know what it feels like to want to give up, to say, "I've tried and nothing has changed." But I am here to remind you, every time you choose to rise again, you break the grip of indifference. Every time you refuse to quit, you strike a blow against defeat. Every time you decide that your life and your purpose matter, you become a force that no obstacle can silence. Do not wait for someone else to rescue you. Do not wait for someone else to do what you are called to do. The change you are longing for begins when you stop being indifferent and start being intentional. Every transformation begins with a decision. This matters. I will not sit idle. I will not let life pass me by. I will take it personal. So I ask you today, what have you been indifferent about? Is it your own potential? Have you given up on the gifts and talents placed within you? Take it personal, because you were created for more. Is it your relationships? Have you stopped fighting for the people who matter most? Take it personal, because love requires effort. Is it the brokenness around you? Have you closed your eyes to the pain of others? Take it personal, because compassion demands action. My friends, the future does not belong to the indifferent. The future belongs to those who care, those who rise, those who love, those who act. The future belongs to those who take it personal. And so tonight, I urge you, wake up from apathy. Shake off the weight of indifference. Refuse to be passive in a world that desperately needs your courage, your compassion, your faith, your fire. Indifference changes nothing. But when you take it personal, everything can change.